So starting by saying, think outside the square. And I was a 18-year-old schoolgirl who, my parents worked hard for my education, but they didn't give me a lot of play money. So I always had to have lots of part-time jobs. I worked behind the cash registers up at Coles in Taronga. I worked at a menswear shop in the city. I babysat every Saturday night. And I look back now and I think having to earn money in all these different ways really put me in good stead, because I know what it feels like when you're treated badly as an employee. And I think a lot of the decisions I make today are because I know that feeling of being on the other side. So my babysitter said to me that they had a little muesli business, and would I be interested in coming one day a week and making muesli? I said, well, sure. So every Tuesday I used to go to this little bakery and make the product, and I worked on the mixer, and the other lady that worked there, she worked on the ovens, and we would sort of make it all up, pack it in bags, and then the owners would take it home, pack it and deliver it to the little cafes and delis around Melbourne. And then after about 6 months, they said that I was going to lose my job, and they wanted to do the honourable thing and let me know that the business was for sale, and maybe whoever bought it might want to keep me on, but perhaps who bought it might want to actually make the product themselves, so just to be aware that I might be losing my job. And I thought about it and I thought, well, I already make the product. Why couldn't I be the one to buy this little business? So I spoke to the other lady that worked there, and we sort of formed a little partnership, and we offered them $1,000 each, which they laughed at us and said no. And you know, we kept working, and they would sort of send other people in to have a look at the business, and we'd always put them on the oven, which was the hardest job. And by the time that they'd worked a whole day on the oven, they realised that this wasn't some cushy little business. This was actually really hard work. And a week before Christmas in 1992, they said, you know what, we'll take you $1,000 each. Here's the business. So it was such an exciting time. And, you know, I look back now and I remember having the conversation with my parents. I don't know as a parent myself whether I would have encouraged my child like my parents did to buy into this crazy tiny little business. So I finished my arts degree, and at the time though, you know, we were doing everything. We were baking the product, taking it home. My parents' study was the sort of headquarters of Carman's, packing it up and delivering it out of the back of the boot of our car. And after about 2 years, my business partner said to me, do you know what, I need to know what time I'm going to work. I need to know what time I'm getting home, how much money I'm earning. This whole idea of having a small business isn't really for me. And she was 45, and like I said, I was 18. So at that point, she said, look, I really want you to buy me out. And I was devastated, because I thought, oh, you know, I really was scared about doing it on my own. So I said, all right then. So after 2 years, I bought her out, and I've kept the name Carman's, which was the first 3 letters of my name and the first 3 letters of her name. And, you know, I do think you need to get a sense. You know, people look at Carman's today and say it's such an overnight success. And I say, well, since when has 20 years really been overnight in anyone's language? We didn't have a bank account, we didn't have a business name, but we had a little structure, and it's just been growing year on year and trying to improve and do our best year on year. That I think has been the result of our successes today.